All right then, Ochate. This abandoned village in Spain. It's got quite the reputation, wouldn't you say?
Definitely intriguing. A place where whispers of curses and actual historical records kind of blur together makes for one compelling puzzle.
And you sent a ton of material our way for this deep dive. Historical accounts, paranormal reports, even some military records in the mix. Looks like you're on a mission to get to the bottom of this.
Absolutely. Got to try to separate fact from fiction, right? See if okay, it deserves this eerie reputation.
Well, right off the bat, there are those stories, those infamous stories,
Yeah.
the epidemics, cholera, typhus, smallpox, completely wiping out the entire village in the 19th century.
Yeah, classic stuff.
And here's the kicker. Neighboring villages, basically untouched. Feels like something straight out of a horror movie, doesn't it?
It's the kind of narrative that gets baked into a place's identity. Problem is, and this is where it gets interesting, recent research suggests those 19th century epidemics, they might be more legend than reality.
Whoa, okay, so not what people usually hear about, okay.
Nope. The Spanish flu in the early 20th century, that was real, hit Ochate hard. But those earlier outbreaks, we're not finding the evidence to support those claims.
Wow, that's a game changer. Makes you wonder how much of Ochate's story has been, well, embellished over time, you know?
Exactly. Like pulling the rug out from under the cursed village narrative definitely adds a whole new layer to unpack.
Okay, but the ancient graves near the village, those were real, right?
Oh, absolutely. Those graves are real, dating back to the 9th and 10th centuries.
So what's the story with them?
Initially, they were thought to be only for children, which obviously fueled the curse rumors even more. But more recent investigations, get this, they found adult graves too.
So not a children's graveyard after all. I admit that is a little less creepy.
Right, and the fact that they're near what might have been an old church points to a regular burial ground, not some, cursed site.
It really shows how quickly we jump to conclusions, especially when it's something we don't understand. But even with the epidemics debunked and the graves explained, Ochate still got this reputation for paranormal activity. UFOs, ghosts, strange sounds, you name it.
And some of the stories are pretty wild, like the recording from 1986 captured inside Ochate's tower, clear voices, a young girl and a woman, no explanation.
Unexplained voices, that's creepy. And wasn't there that photograph? The one taken by Prudencio Muguruza?
Oh, you mean the bank employee who went full-on paranormal investigator? Yeah, that's him. He claimed Ochate changed his life after what he experienced there.
And his photo, it showed some kind of luminous sphere, right, hovering near the village.
That's the one. It's become pretty iconic in paranormal circles. But it's not just the sphere. People report seeing figures in monk robes, and then there's the black lady said to appear in the ruins.
The Black Lady. Yeah, those stories definitely stick with you. Makes you wonder if there's something else going on in Ochate, some other explanation.
Right. There's got to be more to it. And here's another thing. The nearby hermitage of Brigando, covered in ancient symbols that no one's been able to decipher.
Wait, experts haven't cracked the code.
Nope. And the way the hermitage is positioned, it's unusual. That, combined with the symbols, makes you think maybe there was some ancient religious stuff happening there. Rituals, maybe. What if Ochate's secrets are buried in its past, not its present?
It's like whatever happened in Ochate, it left a mark, an echo, connected to these symbols, to things we don't understand anymore.
It's possible. And then there's the whole Spanish army thing. They used Ochate for military exercises.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? Why would the military use an abandoned, potentially cursed village for training?
Right. It's not exactly standard procedure. And we know they did nighttime orientation exercises there, and some reports even suggest more specialized unit testing.
Huh, specialized unit testing, like what kind of units are we talking about?
Well, get this, some reports mention a nuclear, biological, and chemical unit. Yeah, an NBC unit at Ochate.
An NBC unit in a deserted village known for strange occurrences. That definitely raises a few eyebrows. What could they possibly be doing there?
Your guess is as good as mine. They've kept pretty quiet about it, which of course makes people think maybe it was covert operations or even investigations into the unexplained.
Covert ops, paranormal investigations, it's like something out of the X-Files. But wait, there's more, right? What about those soldiers who reported experiencing strange things at Ochate?
Oh yeah, plenty of stories from soldiers. Getting disoriented in weird fog, seeing things they couldn't explain, even feeling this intense dread.
So not just the average civilian freaking out. Even the military's having weird experiences in Ochate.
Seems that way, right? There's even one account, a soldier sees high-ranking officials and that NBC unit just hanging out in Ochate for 5 hours. 5 hours, no explanation.
5 hours with an NBC unit. Yeah, that's not your average military exercise.
Hmm.
You have to wonder if they found something they weren't expecting. Maybe something connected to all that history we were talking about.
Wouldn't be surprised. And speaking of history, there's that murder in one of the ruined houses. Happened 75 years ago.
Oh, right, right. Wasn't it two brothers? Got into it while they were out with their sheep?
That's the one, Jacinto and Trincado. Argument got out of hand, and next morning, one brother turns up dead.
And this happened in one of the abandoned houses.
Yep. Locals say that house has a bad vibe. Some even claim to have pictures. A weird face, bearded, in the windows.
Okay, that's just creepy. You have to wonder if it's like residual energy or something. An echo of what happened there.
It's a thought, isn't it? And then there's that story, the child who said he played with other kids in the ruins.
Oh, that one's sad. To think about this village, empty for decades, but maybe not really empty.
It makes you question what we can see, what we can't. And don't forget the altarpiece at the Hermitage of Burgondo, burned to a crisp.
Right, what was that about? Was it just vandals? Or something more deliberate, maybe connected to those symbols no one can figure out?
Who knows? But burning a religious artifact like that, it feels symbolic, right? Like an act of defiance, or maybe even fear. Whatever those symbols represent, someone wanted them gone.
Or moved.
Yeah.
They didn't burn that demon-carved portico. They took the whole thing straight to Usquiano.
Yeah, exactly. It's like even centuries ago, people knew Ochate was dot off. Like some things are better left alone.
Wow. Makes you think about all these threads, you know? History, paranormal stuff, even the military getting involved. It all kind of weaves together.
That's what's so cool about these deep dives. You start seeing the connections, the patterns, makes you question the simple answers.
It's true. Every new piece of information, every strange event, it just makes Ochate even more mysterious. We're left with more questions than answers.
But they're good questions, the kind that keep you thinking. This abandoned village in Spain, it just gets under your skin, you know?
It really does make you think, you know?
Right.
Like all this stuff, the old rituals, the military being all secretive, the paranormal reports, are they connected somehow? It's almost like Ochate is this magnet for weirdness.
And we tend to think about these things in isolation, right? Separate events. What if that's not the right way to look at it?
Okay, so like not separate events, but pieces of a bigger picture.
Exactly. Maybe the key to figuring out Ochate is seeing how everything fits together, not just looking at each thing on its own.
It's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Something like that.
That's it. You got to look at the whole picture, right?
Yeah.
And with Ochate, that picture has history, the paranormal, maybe even government secrets. It's a lot to unpack.
No kidding. And that's what makes this kind of stuff so fascinating. It pushes you to think outside the box, to consider possibilities you wouldn't normally even entertain.
For sure. It makes you question what you think you know. Like maybe there really are things out there we don't understand at all. Forces at work, you know?
So where does that leave us? I mean, is Ochate cursed? Haunted? A UFO hotspot? Or is it something else entirely? Something we haven't even thought of?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We just don't know. And yeah, some people might find that frustrating, but I think it's part of what makes Ochate so captivating. It defies explanation.
I get that. It's exciting. The world's full of mysteries, places where logic breaks down, and the impossible seems, well, possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And it sounds like that's something you really connect with, right? This idea that there's still so much out there we don't know.
Absolutely. I guess that's the takeaway from all of this. Don't be afraid of a good mystery. Keep asking questions. Keep digging for answers. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to finally crack the code of Ochate.